Hi guys, this is Stacey McLennan at Unity Peace Patrol News, and we have with us this lovely, lovely morning. Well, not so lovely for some people. The Oracle of the Law, which is Michael. Thanks ever so much for coming on at such late notice.
That's okay.
Cheers for that. I just had to get this out there. The comedy cameraman is otherwise giving Zeds at the moment. It was quite hot last night over here in Northamptonshire. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I'll get on with this broadcast. Right, 3 Fern Chase, Nottingham, and Cowton in Nottingham, I should say. There is a big urgent call out, ladies and gents, for people to get their feet firmly on the ground and basically to just take these coppers and bailiffs. I mean, I'd just seen it and I was just like, oh my God, it was absolutely, people are needed urgently at Tom and Sue Crawford's. I've just seen a picture just come up on social media. There are literally, well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 police officers that we can see, and they are blocking the entrance up to the hill of what's its name, Fern Chase. I'll try and download this picture and try to keep the anonymity of the photographer. There's lots of eyewitness accounts there. Everybody's got to get sharing. If you can't get there, please share this broadcast, share whatever you can. Welcome everybody, our 17 viewers. Bloody hell, 17 viewers, I barely even get one. Anyway, guys, well, we have 6 police officers blocking the entrance and a police van. I did say on a broadcast before that Section 26 is well and truly needing to be enforced, and people do need to remember Section 24A of PACE. I've spoken to a basically what it is 24A of PACE. I've spoken to a inspector who basically told me that you can't arrest a police officer, but I very well and truly in Unity Peace style actually corrected him and said, in fact, you actually can. And he got very scared of that. Very scared, especially when I told him that he asked me what an indictable offence was, and the indictable offence, pals, is that if you get a if you basically get a what is it, an indictable offence? Sorry, I'm still half asleep, guys. I just like sort of switched on the laptop and went, whoa, I need to do an emergency broadcast quick.
Yeah, do you want me to explain what an indictable offence is, Stacey?
I know it's in here, but it's it's in my head, but it's just getting it to my gob.
Okay, right, well, I'll do that then. Right, very basically and very simply, an indictable offence is a criminal offence where the maximum penalty is a minimum of 5 years imprisonment or higher. Now, Section 26, the maximum penalty for offences under that provision, term of imprisonment not exceeding 14 years. So it is one of the more serious types of indictable offence. So if you've got somebody committing an indictable offence under Section 24A of PACE, you as an ordinary member of the public can arrest that person. As long as you call the police and then hand them over to the police when the police arrive. If police are there, it's not really worth doing it, because you basically, the police, if they're stupid enough, I'm not saying all police officers are, there are some decent coppers around. Yeah. You do get some who are sort of kind of so psyched up on testosterone and, oh, I've got targets to meet. Yeah, they'll just go and nick anybody for the sheer hell of it. And to be honest with you, that does need to be addressed.
Absolutely. And I think when I explained that Section 26 carries 14 years, I think I heard It's like coming from him.
Yes,
And I believe I heard the words, "Oh shit."
yes, I should think there was a colorectal cacophony coming from his nether regions there, Stacey.
I think it's absolutely mad how they think they can still do this. They think, like, even with everything that's going on with Tom at the moment, you would think, that this has been, he's got the judgment, he's won. As far as I can see of the judgment, and I mean, people have got their own views on it. I mean, this is the photograph that was taken. I've even I had to put this on my own walls. I do apologise to the gentleman that did take the picture. It's not taken by me. It was at Fern Chase. Now, as you can see, this lovely pork machine, as I like to call them, is blocking the way, blocking a public highway. And
all they seem to have done there, Stacey, is just stop vehicles going up there. But I mean, that one with those two there by those wheelie bins, it begs the question: are those police, or are they rent-a-thug, or are they council workers? I know when I was in the police, I was with one of the two national forces that there are in England and Wales. And to wind up the local county constabulary, we used to call them council workers, which used to get them really wound up. So yes, if those are council workers, well, there's some other council workers standing nearby with this white, looks like a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter with the yellow stripe on the side, which is a council van.
Otherwise, I like to call them the bacon machines.
Yes, or pork mobiles, I think is another one, isn't it?
Yeah, pork machine, pork mobile. One of them say it was the Batmobile. I said no, it's the Pigmobile.
Yeah, when he used to have an orange stripe that used to be called jam sandwiches, now you can call them bacon sandwiches.
Yeah, but I would never ever advise anyone of our viewers to call them a pork machine, because or a pig machine, or a pig carrier, or anything like that. I do say it, and it is very close to the bone, but there is obviously tact, and it could risk in you getting arrested. It could.
Yes. Some are rather sensitive to being called porky, trotter, piggy, or oink oink.
I asked once to a police officer, what sound does their siren make? And I went, and he didn't like it. That was an incident at a relative's. And welcome everybody who's decided to join us this morning. We're still getting live updates, and this goes out personally to Sue as a fellow woman. Don't take their shit. Have copies of section 26 taped to your window. The police have blocked the street. There's loads of people. Well, there's loads of police there. There's people saying, right, I'll be down in the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That's cool. I'm actually about an hour and a half away. So by the time I got there, everything would have blown over. So this is why I'm showing my support this way. And I'm sure with all the 40 plus viewers that are here today, some of them are probably from GCHQ. Hello. Hello, GCHQ. Hello, any serving police officers, if they're listening. We're not saying you're all bad, guys. We're not saying you're all bad, but what we are saying is there are corrupt ones, and it's as low as inspectors that this is oozing from. So it is getting very close to the bone that corruption is going on. I mean, there's been incidences with Marston's lately, and that's not the beer, where Marston's have did they force entry, Michael? With this lady?
There was an incident. Where one. I mean, he did gain peaceful entry, but he did not carry out a risk assessment as he is required to do under health and safety at work legislation. Now, a risk assessment basically is seeing if there's anybody who has a disability or something like that. It's not just for the bailiff's safety, health and safety. It's also for the health and safety of people within a building. Now, there were 2 people in there last night who had quite serious illnesses. One, if they'd been knocked, they would have bled profusely and it would have required immediate medical intervention. The other person had a particularly nasty type of, the worst type of diabetes there is. And unfortunately, that person had what's called a hyperglycemic episode. And what that is, for those who aren't familiar with diabetes, hyperglycemia means that the blood sugar goes very high. Hypoglycemia means it goes too low. Now, either way, it's a serious matter. The level it went to, it was dangerously high. Luckily, the person with the diabetes managed to get their insulin and inject themselves before they passed out. But
they
obviously,
could either go into a coma or die.
Yeah, with hypers, there's a danger of irreversible brain damage as well, because obviously, if it becomes unstable, the risks of brain damage, you can only have so many hypers, and then it'll be a case of, well, the next one you have will be your last. You won't have any more after that. And yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you would think that these civil enforcement firms like Marsden's, Collectica, and all the rest of them would tell their self-employed enforcement agents, look, you have to do this. It's a legal requirement. If you don't carry it out, you're breaking the law, and if we find you doing that, you're out. They're not. And I have a feeling this one could turn around and bite the EA on his backside so hard he'll wish he had done it. I was looking at the Health and Safety at Work Act this morning, Schedule 3A, which contains the penalties for breaching health and safety legislation. And on the face of it, it doesn't look very sort of much of a deterrent, but it's when you kind of stop and think. If you're taken to the magistrate's court by a health and safety, bearing in mind it's not a case of them proving you guilty. You've got to prove that you actually complied with the law. That's the way the law is written. At the magistrate's court, you are looking at possibly up to 12 months in prison, or up to a fine of up to £20,000, or both. If you're unlucky enough to be sent to the Crown Court for sentencing, or you choose to go to the Crown Court for sentencing, then you risk up to 2 years in prison, or an unlimited fine. So that means in theory and in practice, a judge or judge in a wig and a gown, he can fine you up to £1 million or even more if he wanted to, if he felt it was justified. Or the judge could fine you whatever he liked and also send you to prison for up to 2 years as well.
Yeah.
So it's not a very clever thing. Plus, of course, there are other pieces of legislation that have come in. One which is causing death by gross negligence. If you call somebody's death, especially like that, then that can kind of come into play, and you could find yourself facing some serious charges. So really, I mean, we know that the big corporations would rather not have health and safety. Well, I'm sorry, it's there for everybody's safety, including theirs. I mean, if they're not prepared to take the responsibility of industrial safety seriously, then really true, we should take away their businesses from them until they can. I mean, yeah. I've seen people maimed and killed in industrial accidents. I mean, when I was working in the retail industry, I was an industrial first aider, and I had to deal with an accident where the person subsequently died. Now, unfortunately, it was because of that. This person has suffered serious head injuries. I was told afterwards, although I did keep his airway open, there's nothing that could be done. He was basically dying on the way to hospital.
Oh, bloody hell.
So this is what happens. This is what happens when safety safety rules are not complied with.
Yeah.
And they're put there for a reason.
Indeed. I think in this case as well, what would you say to all the people that are going there? I've got people asking me about what's the word? People are asking me like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? Oh goodness, I'm trying to find the postcode. Like, what do I do when we get down there? All you need to be is peaceful. I'd say you need to be peaceful. You need to let the officers.
Stop the police officers to stop being so blooming arsey if they start getting arsey. And just kind of kindly and gently hand them a copy of Section 26 and say reading would be digested. And, oh yeah, special note of subsection 2. Then wait for the anal chorus to begin.
Well, here's something. A High Court writ has been obtained by in the words of this gentleman on social media, is by the scum, and the corporate policy are backing the scum, which I believe that would be the police. Section 26 Criminal Justice and Courts Act needs to be invoked for this. It needs to be more than invoked. People need to be arrested. We have a gentleman that's on the way with one of our guys, I reckon, from one of the bailiff watch and advice from the bailiff watch and advice pages. We've got people from the response pages. We all need to stand in unity, guys. I know like people are here on the broadcast listening that can't get there. That's epic, brilliant. You know, you're getting your information. I'm getting as much information as I can this end. People are coming from Barnsley, Manchester. People are coming from Liverpool, Michael. You know what I mean? Like, just this is epic stuff. This is what we think could make history, is that people come together and stand. If anybody's got like an ego or like you don't like the person that's there, don't fucking speak to the man. Just focus on because the thing is, egos can get in the way of anything. So we need to just fuck the bullshit, look at what's in front of us and go, right, this is what's going to happen. This is what I need to do. I need to focus on these cops and these renter thugs, and yeah, basically just tell them straight. You know, there is a big hill. If you do have a small vehicle, I'd say lower than a 1.4, then I'd suggest trying to park at the bottom of the hill. Because I tried to get my 1 litre Corsa up there, and poor Cynthia, or as it's known as the Unity Peace Mobile, actually is it struggled. I think some people had mobility scooters and they cut out halfway up the hill. That's how steep it is.
Yeah, those mobility scooters will only tolerate a 1 in 10 gradient. Anything higher than that, and there is a device in there. It's a thermal cutout. What it does is it measures the temperature of the gearbox in this thing. I used to work with those before I became with the Fibromat got. Yeah, once the gearbox temperature starts to rise, then it'll cut the power from the batteries. Wait for it to cool down, and then you can go again. But unfortunately, if you try to take a gradient that is obviously too steep for a mobility scooter, it will cut out.
Yeah, what would your advice be for the police officers and the bailiffs?
Right, these High Court writs, the trouble is with police, they just accept them without question. That could be the biggest mistake the police could make. What they need to do is they need to make a note of the case reference from the county court, and they need to ring the county court and check that is actually a valid reference. There was a case involving a guy called Guy Turner. Guy Turner, and when
Taylor or Turner?
Guy Taylor, sorry, yeah.
Guy Taylor, yeah.
And when they checked with the county court, they said, we've got no record of that particular case, which proved that the High Court writ was completely invalid. And it doesn't matter whether it's got a stamp on there, whether it's got a High Court reference. If it has not been done correctly, that automatically brought into question. Its authenticity and its validity is brought into question. Now, if a High Court enforcement officer has got any sense whatsoever, they will withdraw immediately and go back and contact the Queen's Bench Division of High Court and say, right, something's gone wrong here. They should ring their office as well. But obviously the first people to speak to are the Queen's Bench Division of the High Court. Deal with this sort of thing. They should say, right, okay, something has gone wrong here. Just check with the county court. They've got no record of this case. What's going on?
This was heard in it was heard in a family court, but it was a county court sort of. There was a judgment it looks like a county court judgment to me, Michael. That's what that judgment that Tom and Sue had looked like to me, was a county court thing.
The thing
and they
is,
said
a lot of these judgments look genuine. The trouble is they're anything but. We know for a fact that there are legal professionals, corrupt, I might add. Don't anyone for a minute think that all legal professionals are corrupt. In any walk of life, you've got corrupt police officers, you've got corrupt civil servants, you've got corrupt solicitors, you've got corrupt barristers, you've got corrupt judges. But the balance of that is you also have very good police officers, you've got very good civil servants, you've got very good judges, you've got very good court staff who go out of their way to do what is right. Unfortunately, what is happening is we're hearing of cases where the corrupt ones are basically shafting the people and they're also treating the judicial system with contempt. The bankers are basically using it as their own sort of rubber stamping house to kind of legitimise their asset stripping. As for UK asset resolution, well, no, I think their name is more like UK asset stripping. And I've got a funny feeling that when the dust settles, which is going to be sometimes pretty soon, I think, I'm afraid that is when it's going to turn around and fight the bankers on their fat backsides. Because those people who have been unlawfully divested of their property are going to go back in there and they're going to say, right, you bought that, you did that at your own risk, get out. And there's nothing that person who's bought the house in a fire sale is going to have got any rights at all, because anything on that, because I mean I'm dealing with a case where there's no charge on the land registry, and yeah,
I believe it's the same in Tom's case. I can't obviously comment too much on.
Yeah, but I've got a funny feeling this is going to turn and bite Nottinghamshire Police on their backsides, and I've also got a feeling that whoever is the High Court company and their rented thugs, I've got a feeling that's going to turn around and it will turn around and bite them on their backsides.
As the gentleman is assisted with Tom and Sue, I believe would be a gentleman by the name, I'm going to keep his surname out of this, is AD. Everybody knows AD. I've met AD personally once, and he seems like a pretty sound guy. And anyway, this gentleman has said that they would need a writ 66 first, which asks for a peaceful possession, which Tom could defend again. But they would need to go back to the High Court for a writ 69, a forcible possession, but this is out of the blue and blocking the road so the public can't stop a crime.
Yes, they can, because they can walk past. If the police try to stop them, there is a case for saying, well, you arrest me and I'll do you for aiding and abetting perversion of justice.
Yeah, because this gentleman by the name of AD has been blocked from Facebook, Michael, 48 hours before this happened. Seems very, very coincidental in my book.
Yeah, that does seem to me to be somebody who is hell-bent on committing common law conspiracy to defraud. Now, you mentioned common law, and you get judges going, oh, no such thing. And then you say, no, I'm not talking about common law as in common law. I'm talking about common law conspiracy to defraud. You know, the one that the Attorney General has ruled should stay in force. And that's when you see the judge's face look like a slap backside. Because that judge knows full well that that is law. And any judge who involves himself in any form of fraud involving real estate, and that's land, that's building and also land, if they are involved in that in any way, they can face up to 10 years in prison.
Indeed, they do. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got a few. Oh goodness, I've just looked at the page. Just looked at the page of Nottinghamshire Police. People have been actually posting and saying shameful, like shame. Like here's one: dirty, shameful, illegal behaviour by Nottinghamshire Police, aiding bailiffs to take Tom Crawford's house. Somebody said, what's happening in Nottingham today? I've just seen 20 plus police vehicles, including riot vans. Some people have been spamming the page, if I'm honest. And I feel like there's something that's actually saying that these people, these police officers, yeah, they are people behind the uniform, and they do have their, but at the end of the day, it will be them. It will literally be them one day. They are missed mortgage payments from losing their home. Your 3 rent arrears payments from losing your home. And I think anybody that agrees, anybody that's watching will agree with me that people fall into hard times. That, okay, fair enough. In this case, there's a lot going off. There's a lot of different things being said about this. To the trolls and the shills, here's one from Unity Peace, and this is something from me personally. Why don't you just fuck off and do something, go and annoy someone else, because you're not needed in this. What is needed is people coming together and going, right, police officers are acting like a bunch of twits, and that's me being very polite about it. They are a bunch of twits that are there. They're saying they're saying about defending the bailiff and that. I beg to differ. And this gentleman, I mean, this gentleman, Tom, he's acted so dignified through this. He hasn't, and kudos to him as far as I'm concerned, because I don't think I could hold as much. I could probably be, well, I could be dignified, you know, but at this point, I think I've got to give the utmost respect to Tom here. He has acted so dignified through this, and I believe you'd agree, Michael.
Yeah, Tom has. Feedback there. One thing I think whoever it was who got KD's side with, they really do need to stop and think.
They do need to stop and think.
They need to stop and act as to what they've done. They may think they're being clever by blocking him so he can't go in and intervene. Well, the thing is, all it does is it just sends out messages, right, we've got corrupt individuals who are prepared to do something like that. And it just proves that, well, if it was legitimate, you wouldn't need to do that. So it just goes to prove the whole thing is fraud. It is criminal. The person who did that is not acting honourably. They're not acting lawfully. They are a criminal. Whether they like that word or not, they will be hunted down, and when they are caught, they will be identified, and they will be put up on trial in front of a judge and jury.
Yeah,
now, if that person is listening to this broadcast, I hope you've got the guts to go into a police station and hand yourself in. If you don't have that guts, then just be aware. Everybody will be out hunting for you. You'll get your head kicked in, but I'll tell you something. You will be firmly gripped and taken to the nearest police station and handed in. And believe you me, if you've got decent coppers there, and when they hear what you've done, by golly, once you get it in the custody suite, that's when you wish you never, ever did what you've done. Believe you me.
I believe it is as well. I think with these police, it must make to me as a member of the public who has never had, well, I've had very bad experiences with the police in my local area. I think people in Northamptonshire especially need to wake the fuck up to what's going on. They say, I've had people, I've had a family member where I've had to sit in a car for council tax, and it's a Motability car. The crane was over my head, and they were ready to take the car. They had a tow truck there, and I had an old school sergeant, bless him, he's retired now, and I really wish he hadn't, said to the bailiff, "You're going to have a nice pair of shiny bracelets if that vehicle carries on trying to lift that car." I would have been like Tahir Khan, if I'm honest. If that sergeant wasn't there, I would have been like Tahir Khan. I swear to God, I would have been the female version probably. But that's when I actually. Oh goodness, there's so many different things going off here. Like I've just seen. I'm seeing lots of different updates. Like there's police officers there. There's
I think with that one you had with the car, Stacey, I think the sergeant did tell the tow truck driver if he didn't disappear with his tow truck would end up as a sort of cube of metal.
It would end up like a can of Coca-Cola, yeah.
I mean, if there are any tow truck drivers or tow truck company owners listening to this broadcast, just be aware, if you're aiding about a bailiff to steal a car that he has got no right to take,
this car was a Motability vehicle.
You will risk, believe me, you will risk having your tow truck seized, and the police can go to a magistrate and get an order to forfeit it, and they can take it and have it crushed. So I think if you are one of those recovery operators, you need to bear that in mind. Now, you may wish not to have anything more to do with bailiffs. That would be a good idea. You may lose one or two jobs, but the thing is it really worth it for a tow truck costing £70,000? No, it's not.
It isn't. It isn't worth it at all.
It really isn't. It just really isn't worth the risk, because it's not only that, your tow truck driver is going to get arrested, and that's the last thing he wants. And if he gets handcuffed on the ground, yeah, it's just not worth it. Trying to having the police steal cars from motorists, it's not worth it, because you could be the person could turn around and sue you if the police have made a mistake.
Exactly, and it has been proven. That it could happen. There's an email address here of not neighbourhood police and sergeant 408 Carol Adams de Bank, and that is D Bank with an E. Email address. I'm going to give it to everybody that's listening. Get on it. It's Gedling, spelled Gedling, .south NPA at Nottinghamshire pn.police.uk. So if anyone wants to send their kind regards, please do. And if anyone's got any messages from Unity Peace Patrol News, tell them one from us. Fuck off. No, don't say that, because you will probably. This is the thing. We've got to keep it as refrain from bad language. Yes, I do swear, but the point is, I'm not actually on the ground. We've got this on the. If you can get on to eviction fraud of the bank, as most of our viewers are doing, they're probably sitting watching and actually looking and seeing what's going on. There's 23 likes and about 179 comments. Somebody's asked as well what the postcode is. The postcode for you lovelies is NG4 November Golf 4 1 Delta November. If anyone else needs to get down there.
Sorry. if you're going to send an email to this police officer, as Stacey has said, please use your common sense. No threats, no abusive language. Try and give an intelligent sort of spiel to them, like, how can you live with yourself doing this sort of thing when there's suspicion this is a fraudulent case, something like that, or something along similar lines. But please do not resort to threats or abusive language, because you will be committing an offence and it could get into an awful lot of trouble.
The closest you could get to probably making a threat is saying, we will be after your job.
I wouldn't even go that far. I would tell them that.
Really?
I would say, please read Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act from start to finish, and please pay particular attention to the penalty for breaching this provision. That probably would be more effective, because once they see that, and I think it does, and I think, Stacey, you found this, where police officers have been made aware of it, it has shaken them. I mean, I think there was an incident the other night around your neck of the woods, wasn't there, Stacey? 5 police officers, and apparently their jaws were dropping one by one as they read through it.
I was on the phone to a family member again. Now, the police do not like Unity Peace Patrol news. I've had that confirmed.
The thing is that they hate themselves, so they won't get criticised. It's simple.
Yeah, exactly. And when you were in the police force, Michael, you didn't have this problem. You possibly had, I don't know, you probably had like giving.
Well, we didn't have the training we did. We had to do a residential training course. The one I did at Hendon lasted about 16 weeks, and we spent 8 hours a day, 5 days a week in the classroom, learning the law. And at any time, one of the instructors, who was either a sergeant or an inspector, or sometimes had the chief instructor, who was a chief inspector. He could suddenly come in and he just point to you and say, right, what's the definition of theft? What's the definition of criminal damage? What's the definition of ABH? You had to be able to tell him exactly as it was written in the legislation, word perfect. We had to commit those offences to memory. And the reason for that is when you're confronted by that, in criminal law there are points to prove in order, if you're going to court with that offence, and you have to prove those points that the legislation lays down. And if you can't, then there's no offence, there's no case. And
yeah, we've just had an update from one of the relatives of Tom. He's arrived back home. He's asked to see the warrant, and the policeman laughed at him.
Right.
What the?
Right, they need their numbers taken, and if that's the case, if that's the way they're going to behave, they should have their numbers taken, and I think Section 26 should be invoked against them.
How can anyone? I mean, the guy is an old man. Have respect. It's not even that. It's even if you're out of uniform, have fucking respect for your elders, man. Who the fuck do they think they are? You know what I mean?
Well, they are brainwashed idiots. What's happened is that they've been on these diversity courses run by Common Purpose, and what it's done is it's skewed their egos in such a way is that they cannot. Basically, they do things that any normal person or any reasonable person wouldn't think of behaving. The other thing as well is, going back to what I was saying before he came in with that news flash. Yeah, these days the training is, they seem to go by things that are a little more than comic books. They do this so-called certificate or diploma in policing. Then they apply to the police, and then they do their sort of street check. They do not do any proper training. They don't even know the law. They make it, a lot of them, the more incompetent ones, they make it up as they go along. Now, if you come across a police officer who clearly knows how to do the job, it's quite likely that one of those officers was one of the last few officers who went to the police training centres around the country. Where I am in southwest England, the one that covered the southwest peninsula into the South Midlands and South Wales was situated at Cwmbran, which is sort of in the Rhondda Valley, and that one is now closed, but that used to cover quite a few police forces. And yeah, I mean, when I did my independent, and also when I changed police forces and went to another force, we did 10 or 12 weeks residential. That force now is 17 weeks. It's one of the very few forces that has residential training for its officers. Yeah, you had to learn the law, and you had to know the law, and you were examined on it. I mean, the law exams I took at Hendon, they were marked by barristers from the Bar Council, because the questions from that were from the previous year's Bar Council exams. So you can imagine the sort of standard we were expected to meet, and if you didn't meet that standard, that was it. You were out. They were very, very strict, very selective, and they made damn sure you were up to the job. These days, they seem to take anyone. In fact, I wouldn't mind betting they're kind of, some of them are pretty moonlighting as nightclub bouncers.
They probably are.
Well, yeah. I mean, if they are, if they are moonlighting, then they are breaking police conduct regulations. Because if they haven't told their chief constable they've got a second occupation, they are committing a breach of police conduct regs.
Right, it is something that's breaching police conduct regs. A lady has tried to drive down towards Fern Chase. They wouldn't let them near. The police surrounded her car and told her that they're not going down.
Unless if she has got lawful reason to be going along that road, unless the police have got a lawful reason for stopping her, that could well be unlawful. There's no good in them saying, "Oh, it's to stop." No, I'm sorry. I mean, the law is now being openly abused, and I'm afraid it's sticking out like a sore thumb. If you've got any police officers from Nottingham listening, look, stop being silly, because the law now is such that it can turn around and bite on the backside.
So many people.
You can threaten to arrest people, but that could actually lead to your own arrest and your own imprisonment.
Now. They're threatening arrests now.
Oh, what for? What are they threatening arrests for? Well, you can't arrest somebody simply for being there. As long as you are behaving in a peaceful manner and you are not threatening anybody, then that, I mean, if they're trying dispersal orders, no. That ain't going to cut the mustard. A lot of decent magistrates and district judges aren't going to tolerate it either, because if they find out a police officer has made an unlawful arrest, they will let them know very quickly. Right, no case to answer, case dismissed. That police officer is then in automatic risk of being suspended from duty with immediate effect pending investigation for unlawful conduct. I think the
Section 24A of PACE. Remember that, guys. Remember that, especially when they're in
Section 24. But the police do need to remember, if they try to intimidate people by threatening to arrest them, and they've got no right in law to do so, or they have abused these dispersal orders, it will turn around and bite them on the backside. Because if you're found to be abusing and misusing your powers, Section 26 of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act will be invoked, and it's quite likely. Don't rely on the CPS to dig you out of it, because if people take out private prosecutions, the CPS may not be able to stop it, and you could end up going to prison for up to 14 years, or you could be fined, or you could get a double whammy. So just stop and think about that, because you could be in a lot of trouble, and it's not. Is it really worth it? Because I mean, if you do get jailed, you are going to be active for a job. You're going to lose your pension, and you try getting a job with a conviction for abusing your powers. Chances you get a job as zilch.
It's like it's getting it's like it's getting to the point. It's getting to the point that this is getting personal, especially when they're laughing at man. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know he's got the inner strength of a lion. God, you know what I mean? I mean, I met Tom. I couldn't actually get down to the January non-eviction on the 23rd of January this year. Me and my husband actually drove down straight after work and just tried to see. And I remember driving up that hill, Michael, and my poor car. But I got up to the top of the hill and I seen like a marquee outside. And I actually sat there and I was in tears. I was like, oh my God, the bailiffs have got in. Oh my God, there's no lights on. Oh my God, I was crying and everything. But someone came out of the tent and was like, they're all down the pub. So that was quite a relief. And that's how I met AD, and that's how I met Tom. But I don't think they remember me. But if you do, it's the lady with the red hair and the body warmer who's got family in Geddington. That you've got, we know you've got family in Geddington if you guys are listening. And we're here, and people are supporting you from all sorts of ends of the country in their own ways. Now, I think this goes what it says to Michael. Everybody is everybody's rooting for you. You're not alone in this. You're not alone in this. And if you guys are if Tom and Sue are there, like listening now, personal message to you. There's people there. Just because the police are trying to block them away does not mean that their spirit is going to be dampened. Basically,
doesn't mean they're acting lawfully either.
No.
I'm just looking on the UK Column website at the moment, Stacey. About an hour ago, Brian Garish, who's he's the founder, one of the founders of the UK Column. He's tweeted here, newsflash, help bailiffs at Tom Crawford, only mumming. That was about
That's
an hour
such a
ago.
shame.
This is Brian Garish from the UK Column.
Epic, man. And we'd love to have him on. I mean, we were just discussing last night about any
I mean,
oh hey, we've got a few other pictures here. The police are blocking right there's a turn off. They are basically, I think they're well, it could be classed as kettling. Sorry to the gentleman, but if you don't, the gentleman that did take that picture, I'm gonna download it and post that if that's obviously all right with you. I'm sure that
the police are going to be careful with kettling, because if they've got no legitimate reason, if they say, oh, it's for public order, they've got to prove it. I mean, this is quite. I mean, I looked through a document the other night.
they are arresting people that are trying to get through.
Sorry.
The police are arresting people that are trying to get through. Well, this is what I want to fucking know.
The thing is,
to be quite honest,
unless the police have got lawful reason, as long as those people are not acting in a violent or abusive manner, those arrests are likely to be unlawful. Those officers could well end up out of a job. I'm saying that not to frighten them, not to be abusive. I'm being deadly serious.
Yeah,
it does not bode well when a police officer decides to assist a corporation, a corrupt corporation, that and thinks he's doing his duty. He's not doing his duty at all. He is acting as nothing more than a policy enforcer and a thug. And police officers who do that are not fit to hold the warrant card. They're not fit to wear a uniform. They're not fit to hold the officer constable. To be honest with you, there's times when I watch things like this, I feel you do feel embarrassed to have been held the officer constable. But what the hell? I mean, when I was on the job, and those who were in the job with me, I mean, how we did it properly. We treated people as human beings. I mean, these days they just treat them as. I mean, their mind is so twisted. They say, "Oh, they're animals. They're criminals. You can't. That's brutalising." Yeah, I mean, there's still decent coppers there, but the trouble is they're being bullied and threatened and intimidated by these thugs. I mean, companies turn on these thugs and get rid of them out of the police service.
They've blocked the street. and the turn off to get into Fernchase. Now here there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And how many civilians are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, there's an even number, but it's not the point.
It is still unlawful to arrest somebody without lawful reason. And if you as a police officer are found misusing the law or using the law in a way that is incompatible with the European Convention on Human Rights, watch out, because you will be attracting and storing up more trouble than you can cope with or want. You will not be protected. The law will not protect you. I mean, the corrupt government we've got may offer you some a token protection, but I'm going to tell you this now: your privileges as a constable do not extend to breaking the law or twisting the law or manipulating the law. Because if you're caught doing it, that is basically corruption. And well, the thing is,
we have another update from a gentleman. I'm just watching the YouTube page on the live chat. Apparently, they have taken the house. Sadly.
Or what? The thugs managed to get in, and the thing is, if they've stopped Tom from getting up there, then those police officers could be guilty of an offence. Also, if that writ, I mean, if they refused him the writ and laughed in his face, they could be laughing the other side of their faces, because if that writ was fraudulent and they accepted it, they're going to be in big trouble. I'm sorry, but those police officers, they're a disgrace.
They are.
I've got a feeling karma is going to come and visit them in a way that they ain't going to like. I mean, they won't be subject to any violence or intimidation or anything like that. But I think those officers could well find themselves being called in by a senior officer, possibly a divisional commander, an area commander, who's usually a chief superintendent, or possibly even their own superintendent, and being told, right, there's your resignation letter, sign that, give me a warrant card, hand in your uniform and get out, you're fired. And they can do that. And if it's serious enough, they can dismiss them with immediate effect. They can in exceptional cases, they can even dispense with a disciplinary hearing. If it's so blatant, they can just go, that's it, you're out.
Yeah, there's people that are on this. It's takedown time. They've got the house, unfortunately. Fucking bastard.
I think that's where it could turn around and bite. Whichever high court enforcement firm they get, probably
they are real high court enforcement officers, though. How do we know that? They could be from Bartstones, for all we know.
Well, Marstons have got a high court enforcement division. There is a company called SureForce or SureGroup. SureForce. They're not known as SureForce. They're known as SureForce. But it's very strange. But the owner of the firm did a run into the States. That's just something about that company. They're quite nasty. I mean, they're quite nasty. Very abusive, very arrogant. And when you stand up to them, they don't like it. He's breaking the law. He's obstructing me. No, I'm just pretending what a complete twat you are. And when you explain, usually, I mean, I've only ever in all my years ever had one confrontation with somebody from SureForce, and that was over something where they shouldn't have been there in the first place. And the police, you would have said, I spoke. Hold on a minute. Let's have a look at that. I said, because if you help him, and that writ is not valid, you're in the shit. And the copper went, give me that bloody writ, and I looked at it. I said, okay. So I'm going to check this with the court. Check with the court. They said, no. They said that one was set aside. I went, oh right, okay. I said, and I was able to confirm it with the copper, and he said, sorry, he said, I'm taking this, and it's just going, well, you've got to give it back. He said, no, he said, because this has been set aside. He said, I have reason to believe. He said, you're not acting lawfully. He said, I'll be breaking the law if I let you. So off went this guy in a huff, but the copper did act. He acted correctly, and all due credit to that copper. Because he helped him. The thing is the I don't know whether it's a deputy HCO or a full HCO, but if he had gone ahead and let him just do what he wanted to, that copper would have been breaking the law. He could have lost his job. But what happened to the HCO, I don't know. I mean, he said, I'm going to complain about you, blah, 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 blah. I've never heard another thing about it. But, I mean, that was going back some years.
See, the thing is, one gentleman that's on the live chat that I'm just tapping away to said it's very sad news. Said, and he also, I said, yes, it is very sad news. The corruption watchdog here at Unity Peace Patrol HQ has a scent. He is actually sniffing around at the moment. He's probably trying to go, come on, let me piss up a copper's leg.
We'll see.
This is Ozzy. That's our main corruption watchdog. The other two that we have, they don't like the police, and they did witness me being arrested very brutally back in January. This other gentleman, this gentleman again said, the problem is nothing will change without a unified revolution involving the masses. Too much splinter cells, too many groups for different things. There needs to be a central hub for all to make change. And do you know what? I tend to agree with them there. There needs to be something very central to this, where we all go, right, this is what's going off. This is how we're going to get about things. This is how we're going to do it. Now, Unity Peace Patrol News, I'm hoping to get a website running up for Unity Peace and possibly have meetings. I'm in the Northamptonshire area where everybody's asleep. I mean, I even like when I go out, like even just walking down the street, I can feel the zombified manner of people. That's what it is. And when I say people, it's sheeple. And I live in a town called Kettering, and there is a certain reference to farmyard animals around here. They do actually call them sheep some things, but I won't mention that on there. And they all...
I think they call the Welsh ones as well.
Yeah, the Welsh... Basically, Kettering is actually Northamptonshire's answer to allegedly Wales. Not making any reference there. But, basically, it's gotten to the point now where people need to stand and just not take people's shite. You know what I mean? And they do it in all sorts of ways, and they're demonizing people for no reason. You know, I mean, I remember a family member, I said, right, I'm going up to Nottingham. And she said, oh, well, what happened? What's happening? And I told her, like, look, this guy's getting evicted could get evicted from his home. So I need to get there. She was like, well, he should have paid his bills then, shouldn't he? And I went, well, no, that's not why. And when I explained it to her and said, look, that it's not like the government aren't this cuddly bunch of people sitting in Parliament. They're not these cuddly people sitting in Parliament, and they don't love you. They want to really ruin you, and they con you in every way possible. And I believe that's what, when I explained it to her, she's actually woke up. This relative of mine's actually woke up to Common Purpose when I helped her with a debt with a certain council. Now the point is, I think half of these people in the Common Purpose kind of fucked uppiness, as I call it, it's just at that point where you wake up. I remember when I woke up to Common Purpose, I literally wanted to rip through my home's walls. I really did. I wanted to go mad, basically. And when my sister did, she actually went, oh my God, you know, it was just absolutely, it's absolutely shocking. It is, the amount of people that are getting ruined by common purpose and getting ruined by everything. I mean, it's just this, it's just this fucked up government. That's what it is. And we need to take a stand. It's like, we started the broadcast off with a soundtrack from V for Vendetta. That's where it's going to get to. If anybody's not watched that film, watch it. If anybody's watched it, you'll know what I mean. Where everybody comes together at the Houses of Parliament. We need the masses, and we're not talking about 250,000 people. We're talking about millions. We need millions and millions of people down at the Houses of Parliament saying, look, I'm mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore. Quoted from another film. I can't remember the film's name. If anybody could help me remember the people are saying, there's people that are saying that they believe the police have been served with Section 26. Oh, we have a troll. Hello, welcome, troll. He lost the case. You guys knew it. Somebody else has said one voice won't be heard. A million voices can't be ignored. Exactly. If you go over to the YouTube thing. So hello, troll. Welcome. You'll just be graciously ignored because it's got enough fuck all to do with you. Take your face for a shite. That's the most attention that you're going to get from me. Now, I think at the end of the day, with all these different trolls and shills, they can do what the fuck they like. We have as well. Oh, look at these renter thugs, Michael. Oh, you'll laugh at this. Hang on a second. This has come from one of the relatives' Facebook's uploads.
Yeah.
Look at how many.
I mean, how pathetic they look. They look absolutely pathetic. I mean, if they think they are hard, they are doing their duty. Sorry, guys, but you really are seriously deluded if you think you're doing your duty. You're not.
Look at this fucker hanging his head in shame. So he fucking should.
No, he looks to me like he doesn't like. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he is, or he's just peed on his boots. One of the two. I mean, the way the second from the right is holding his arm, and the one from second from the left are out over there. That body language. Yeah, no, the one next to other side of the one in the middle. No, not him with a beard. Not him. The one you got the one. Where you got that red? Where you got? Yeah, that one there. You got the red spot, and that one there. If you look at the way they're holding their arms, that body language is very telling.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, they're very uneasy about what's going on. The one in the middle that you got the red square on at the moment, he looks as if he's looking very nervous. Those are people looking very nervous and but that one who's second from the right in that lineup, he's looking decidedly. Yeah, that one there. He
looks like he's going to cack his pants.
I think by the look on his face, he may have already done that, but he's looking very, very uneasy. And I'm gonna
full screen and see if I can get in. I can't get the numbers, but even the high vises, they don't actually, to me, Michael. But with them high vises, they don't like, because they usually have hardened high vises.
Well, what they normally wear is something called a high vis patrol vest. Now, the patrol vest is that is just a mesh which they would normally wear if they were on traffic duty. Those, I mean, a patrol vest is basically it's a stab vest incorporated into it. And you've also got pockets where they can put things like powder spray and other things like that. I mean, if you look at these guys, I mean, yeah, they've got their handcuffs on their belts, which would indicate to me these aren't provisional officers. These are sort of what we call territorial support group or territorial support, police support unit. They're sort of the Merseyside Police used to call them the Operational Support Division before they changed them to the Matrix. OSD, you see these vans going around with OSD on the back of them, Operational Support Division. That's not what they were called by other coppers. They were called the Odds and Sods Department because most of them there were no bloody useless for any other police duty. I mean, where I was in London, we had the Special Patrol Group, or as they would have in the job, the Banana Bunch. The reason they were called the Banana Bunch is they used to go around in these green Ford Transit minibuses with blue lights on top.
Remember
the usual kind of smart remark was, green on the outside, yellow on the inside.
So to all these officers, we will remember your faces. We will. Your faces will never be forgotten. And feel free to have a look on the internet later, because it probably will be shared far and wide. Probably wider than your asses are going to be when you get 14 years in prison. But that's another thing altogether.
Yeah, those officers who were standing there holding their arms, I've seen that before. That is a sort of, oh God, I feel very unhappy sort of body language. I mean, one thing we were taught when I did my training, you were taught to interpret body language, and that sort of thing is, it's almost like they're trying to hug themselves. And it's not because they're cold; it's because they're feeling very, very uneasy. Probably it's sick to the sort of bottom of their souls, basically. I think they've realised, those two in that photo that you put up, Stacey. I think it's dawned on them just how wrong this is, and what they're being asked to do is very, very wrong. And also, it looks to me like it's sort of the penny dropped. Is I don't want to be here. And this, I've just realised what is going on. It's a bloody dictatorship, and I'm sort of right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
It could be me who's subjected to this, and I think when you get that sort of a revelation hit you, it can be horrible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those two officers there, like I said, you could see it in their body language and their faces. I mean, the one you said it looked as if he was about to cack his pants, and I said yes, I think he already had. He looked. I mean, I would not be surprised when that officer goes on duty or he goes back to wherever his base is. He starts shaking.
Yeah, we've had to block. We've blocked the user from the chat there. They were served with this fraudulent document at 11:36 this morning. So, and somebody's the trollers basically said, "Oh yes, well, blah blah blah. I'm not trolling." I've just ignored the little shit and blocked him. To anybody that is genuine and actually showing support, oh, hang on a second. One of somebody we know, I'll tap his name into our chat box, Michael, has served the notice to Police Inspector of Criminal Justice Courts Act 2015 at 11:36. So I'll just tap his name in here. So we both know him, and I believe I've spoken to him about forced entry once before. Lions, if anyone's familiar, just to keep his anonymity, because I do respect other people's privacy in regards to this, the people that are there. Now, I believe, I mean, this person that did serve the notice, he's quite, I believe he's quite, what's the word I'm looking for? I believe he's very diplomatic. He's very calm, this gentleman, and the police inspector obviously hasn't listened to that. So I believe people should be getting 24-hour pace up on their smartphones and actually sorting things out and saying, listen, you know, this is what needs to be done at the end of the day. This is what is going to happen. We've got a question. Does this mean that Tom and Sue have been evicted? Just found my way from Quatluz. I was planning to go Barnet CC today, so I guess I can save the trip. Is anybody surprised this is happening as well? There's another question. Right, well, the question to you, Vampire Lauren, this does mean that this is that Tom and Sue have been evicted. And yeah, I mean, if you could get down there and show some solidarity, then cool. If you can't, then that's obviously cool. Is anybody really surprised this is happening? I believe so. I believe there are a lot of people that are very surprised at what this is going on, because this was very unexpected and very out of the blue. And they've obviously abused the legal process in this and acted out of due diligence at the end of the day, you know. I like to keep this very interactive. So there's people that are saying they would need, right, I've got another comment that says that they would need a writ first, which asks for peaceful possession, which Tom could defend again. Then they would have to go back to the High Court for a writ 69 for forceful possession. Now, asking someone very politely to leave their house and they say no, and that means they would have to go back and go for that writ 69. From my understanding of that comment. And it's quite it's quite an education for me, because if I have any issues, or if any of you guys have any issues, please read it up and, you know, get on it, man. You know, I think everybody here that's listening now, even our little friends at GCHQ, that probably have more intelligence than probably have no more intelligence than what I had for breakfast this morning. So yeah, it's not a good thing what's been going off, you know. I think everybody that wants to get there, you know, get there. If anybody can get there, can get there. And I just think it's absolutely shocking, but we need to get people that are on this, you know what I mean? People are actually saying, people are giving advice on our social media saying stay calm, don't give them ammunition. Very true. Somebody has posted up pictures of the Criminal Justice and Courts Act. Getting the BBC ITV there gives a larger audience with the wrong information. They will condemn Tom and you. Oh, all right. Taken from another post. There's people that are sharing the link. Thank you very much to the lovely gentleman that did share the link. Dear all, I have been informed of disability hate crimes being committed against Tom and Sue Crawford. That's somebody that's gone there, just phoned ITV News. They should be on their way. They was delighted to know of this event, and I told them to film as it needs to be. They was glad that I informed them. So ITV are on their way. Some relatives that are there. It's just horrendous, guys. It's such sad news. Somebody said as well, if it is true, the house has to be taken back. So yeah, it's gotten to the point now, ladies and gents, where we are literally at very dark times, where people are actually losing their homes for no apparent reason whatsoever. Now, because of the sadness of such sad times, I'm gonna play a little song to lighten the mood, shall we say. Anyone that has a request, then please put it in. I believe I'm gonna be going for a selection from Allegedly Reese, because he does have a way of bringing comedy, but in a way that it's still sensitive, I believe. Now, ladies and gents, I'm just going to put something. I think Marston's would be a good one, actually, because they are a criminal. It's just a criminal company that is the bailiff company, the what's its name, the bailiff company, and the police. So we'll put this on, and then we'll come back into Unity Peace Patrol newsroom, and I'll be on the live chat for any questions that do need answering. And feel free to blast.
What you gonna do when business comes to you? What you gonna do? What you gonna do when you bring the good time is here? Stand strong together, use what we know. Got to lose the fear. Get in the van, whatever house we go. To the fellow presence, the single parents, the poor man trying to save nothing good. To all mankind, we know on the eye of all that I've made down before. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when West comes for you? More stones, more stones. Jay is coming through. Better get your nappies on, 'cause you're about to lose. More stones, you just stop parasite. And you're making me more stones. You know you're gonna start a set the corporation, non-stop taxation, leads to salvation, as the HMRC and the AYE. Working for the profit of the agency, I was better than use the legal name. Didn't you know the habits and the how to reclaim? Just a property of 200 million a year. I prefer to mom and you were just a credit bill. You never get me. You're just a criminal company. Lost guns. Devil without a key. I follow law of the land and not the sea. But come as a bitch. Digging up your more stones. You can dig it up your more stones. Yeah, come as a bitch. You won't get it.
Well, and that's something from Allegedly Reese. Just to lighten the mood here, there's people that are sending lots and lots of loving messages. We have love and hugs to Tom and Sue. I am not able to get there right now, but we'll get there if I possibly can. We have a special request from someone for the end of the show, which I believe would be quite appropriate, actually. Somebody's asking how much have they missed. Well, to the lovely viewer that did has missed quite a bit. You have missed quite a bit. The house has been repossessed. For anybody that doesn't know who Tom Crawford is and who he is about, he is a gentleman who basically he's had his house repossessed. There's been 2 non-evictions, one in the July of 2013 and one in the January of 2014, sorry, and there was the 2015 23rd of July. Now, if anyone has any qualms about what happened with his rent, with his mortgage arrears, what happened was that the mortgage was initially set as an endowment mortgage, which means that you're paying it off as it stands, with interest on top. Now, anyone else that pays a mortgage, do check it out. Now here's something as well. They somehow managed to switch the mortgage to a interest only, so they couldn't actually pay off the mortgage at all, which does sound very strange. Now, what happened was that the bank manager at Bradford and Bingley, as they were formerly called then before they went over to this other company, they sent Tom a bottle of champagne and a bunch of flowers. Now that must have been the most expensive bottle of champagne that they actually had. And what's happened is that they've gone, well, actually, you have changed it back, and I believe that they haven't actually done that. So yeah, it's just gotten to the.
Yeah, if I could just cut in here a minute, Stacey.
I
What a lot of these mortgage lenders try to get away with is using something called a power of attorney. Now, there is a piece of legislation called the Unfair Contract Terms Act 1977. Now, what this piece of legislation does is it stops unfair contract terms being inserted into agreements or any form of contract. And the provider of the contract has a legal duty on them if they put in anything which is unfair or unreasonable, that cannot be enforced. In certain circumstances, putting certain disclaimers or anything like that in a contract can lead to a criminal sanctions, which can also result in the provider of the contract being sent to prison. Now, in a case like this, these powers of attorney are being abused, and this is what it seems like happened in Tom's case. They've tried to use the power of attorney to bugger around with the mortgage. If that's the case, if I would think that if it had been argued, or it was argued, that this was contrary to the Unfair Contract Terms Act, and it's no good them saying, oh well, he agreed it. The answer no. If it's not, if they cannot prove, and this is not Tom, this is the UCAR or Bradford and Bingley as they were, unless they can prove that that power of attorney was fair, reasonable, and lawful at the time it was signed. And I mean, this was after 1977, and I'm afraid the act was already in force. The bank cannot rely on their power of attorney to get them out of the proverbial, because that is quite a powerful piece of legislation. I have seen firms come and start trying to argue that in a small claims hearing. The registrars, they used to be called, and they're called deputy district judges. I've seen a deputy district judge turn around and say, sorry, you haven't proven that what you did was fair and reasonable, and I'm sorry, I cannot allow the law. It's quite clear it must be fair and reasonable, and what you said is not reasonable and it's not fair. So, in a judgely way, they tell them to stop wasting their time.
Nottingham Post has actually just sent a report in. Sorry, Michael. Do carry on. I'll just post this up while you're chatting there. Sorry. Yeah,
I was actually just gonna have a look on see if we got any more bits and bobs on YouTube. Who have we got here? We've got somebody who said alleged repossession it may be. The lawful owner still have lawful excuse to regain that property back, subject to the entire proceedings of void from the outset. Somebody said so he has actually been evicted. Yeah, the troll. Somebody has said, I don't think he would recognise a valid warrant or writ if it was wrapped around a wet fish and you were beaten with said wet fish. So hopefully the troll has got the message from that.
Well, I actually had to block him because he was just being an absolute dickhead. So I didn't dignify him with a response after that. I just thought, you know what, he's going to antagonise everybody else, so
yes, I think
that wouldn't be fair on him.
Yes, I think in his case, the chocolate starfish was shouting very loud.
Yeah, his chocolate starfish was shouting very loud and talking a load of verbal diarrhea.
Yes, I quite agree. No, something that is not quite related, but it is related to homes. Something just come up from change.org. The MP for Solihull, Julian Knight, has urged the council
Share it so we could see it.
to increase the renter room scheme to tax-free threshold. So, yeah, this is. I'll try and screen share if I can. If I can find it. Yeah, because I've just had this has just arrived as an email. Nope, I can't. Sorry. No, but basically, no. This MP has basically had a go at Judge Osborne. He said, yeah, you need to kind of raise the tax-free threshold for the rent-a-room scheme, so people don't get stung by this god-awful bedroom tax. Yeah, he says raising the threshold to reflect room rents of today, not those of 18 years ago, when the threshold was last updated. So, yeah, I think that is going to be interesting to see if that comes to be. I don't know which party Julian Knight is with, but good on him. Let's hope that Judge Osborne takes notice of this and doesn't do his usual, which is just stick his fingers in his ears and sing la 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 and not listening, except to the bankers.
It's just absolutely shocking. I mean, we've got an old neighbour says it's a lovely area to be, and you know what? When you do when you do go up that hill, it is a lovely area to be, and it is almost like I feel like there's something in the water that says, you know, it's a sought out location. You know, there's a nice little pub down the road. You know, ideal. It's an ideal place. Now, to me, it seems so coincidental, Michael, that you know, these people that it is like asset stripping, and it seems to be all these nice places that are getting turned over. You wouldn't see somewhere that's quite rough, you know. I mean, I'm not judging in any way.
Yeah, what they've done in Plymouth, Stacey, a lot of the old council estates, they've demolished them because a lot of the buildings were actually coming to the end of their useful life. A lot of them were put up after the war, Second World War, and they used a method of construction where they basically put shuttering up and then just poured reinforced concrete in. So they were beginning to come to the end of their useful life, and then the concrete was beginning to crack. I mean, they've been up for over 50 odd years. They were never intended to last that long, and they've replaced them with what I can only describe as a sort of glorified rabbit hutch. I have no doubt that the bankers will get their hands on those because they'll divest the housing associations of them, saying, "Oh, you can't afford the money. Oh, right, we'll take it," and then we'll just get a situation where people will be at the mercy of the corrupt banks. But I mean, if people, as you said, people have got to start mobilising, and they've got to start standing up to these crooks in suits and their thugs. And say no more. We're not going to put with it anymore. You do it on our terms, or you don't do it at all. I mean that the last two demonstrations in London, I think the first was about 70,000, and the last one was 250,000. And I think that took the Met Police and everybody by surprise. They weren't expecting that amount of people. I've got a funny feeling.
Sorry, Michael. They are they're. Somebody on the Unity Piece news, it just come in just now, that this person is in chat with someone who is there. Apparently, they are taking goods and the dogs.
They can't take the dogs. You can't take goods. You're not allowed to. You only have. Well, if they're trying to clear the place out, they've got to put that into storage. That's the law. You're not allowed to take somebody's stuff and destroy them. That is unlawful. It's illegal as well. So who's saying that? Let's see.
This is on. I'm on the YouTube chat thing.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm just having a look. Please be blocking me. looking up the air. Oh, somebody here said, I blame the learned Eber. He felt Tom type of nonsense. I don't know what to say about that.
I don't know who it is, so.
Well, he's referring to Mr. Eber. I mean, when you're investigating dodgy land and
someone's saying they must be clearing it out.
They seem to have a very similar modus operandi. Somebody said he had the old idiot in London who told me he had won when there was plenty had lost. Somebody said they must be clearing it out, Michael. Don't know who that is. Right, if you have nothing constructive or supportive, Tom and Sue at this time, I suggest you leave the chat. Any more negativity and you'll be removed.
That's from me.
Yeah. Tom and Sue stopped paying the endowment more policy in the 90s. They messed themselves up. I feel like putting something in there.
Feel free, Michael. Feel free. This person was being quite pleasant until.
Yeah.
He had his piece to say, and then he just started. I'm just gonna remove. Sorry, ladies and gents, we have to unfortunately quickly deal with this troll, so we're just removing him.
Somebody said the vampire goes suck blood elsewhere. Well, I think the word is twat, and I do agree.
Somebody's asked for Tom's address. The address is 3 Fern Chase in Carlton in Nottingham. Now, the postcode is November Golf 4 1 Delta November. I've got such a quick memory. Don't know what's. I'm on fire today, ain't I? The silly idiot is we're just removing some of the vile comments that Vampire Lauren decided to put. Somebody said, yeah, Agenda 21, the New World Order, horrible situation to put Tom and his wife in, disgusted people. I think at the end of the day, ladies and gents, you know, we've all got to stand in peace and solidarity. I think Michael would agree with me. Any violence to the police, exactly, and it will not be. Tom and Sue would not expect that of people, no. You know.
They're very peaceful people, and like you said, Stacey, they're not the sort of people who condone violence in any shape or form.
There's not enough here. Apparently, correction, the family dog is dying, was ill, but they won't let the family in to collect or comfort a dying member of the family.
Yeah, who's doing that? The police or or Rent-A-Thug?
Well, they won't even let them in to go and get the dog.
Well, that's wrong. Obviously, the police need to get there. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you kind of realise the letters of Rent-A-Thug spell rat, that's exactly what they are.
Exactly. I think
Rent-A-Thug, yeah, rat.
I think we were talking about that.
That's exactly what these thugs are. They're rats.
Nothing more than them. They're lower. I think they're lower than that.
Well, there's ways of dealing with rats.
Just looking on Twitter, Tom Crawford, Notts Police assisting in unlawful eviction. We have despicable action against Tom Crawford today involving police and other elements of the state. Indicates we are now at war. At Notts Police, can you please comment on the
unlawful? Yeah, I need to say the unlawful
eviction. Yeah, I was just reading through that.
The unlawful actions of you and your officers, because you're not acting as police officers. You're acting in a private capacity. Therefore, you can't arrest people because otherwise you'd be committing an indictable offence if you did so.
Yeah, there's somebody that's put in no one special on Twitter. They said is called corrupt fascist scum. You just
Who
the
they
list,
call? Who
oh,
call
sorry,
them fascist scum?
they are. We are living in a Nazi state. We're in Nazi Britain,
Oh yeah,
ladies.
I think they said. I think they said on UK column yesterday that basically had Stasi police state, but it'll only be that way if we let them. Oh, update. Somebody just said Tom's blocked the road with his car so they can't get out.
That I like Tom's style.
Oh, somebody called Nathan Edwards. I mean, Nathan is posting. Hi, Nathan, if you're listening, mate. He's
Hiya,
posting
Nathan.
some cracking comments in, and they really do kind of. But then again, he hasn't been arrested, so it may not apply because he said here the police have a duty of care in the section of pace. Pace also applies to arrests, custody, and afterwards. So yeah, it applies. It's quite a extensive piece of legislation. They do. Tom's blocked the road with his car so they can't get out. I bet that's upset the inspector. How can they take? Somebody called the Stevie B show. How can they take possession if they won in court unless they didn't win it? The Scottish Sovereign saying corruption. Stevie B, are you really this blind? Nathan has said under the Welfare of Animals Act 2006. Now they might have done with the dog is called a vet and to see if the dog really is sort of on its last legs, whether it's kind of ready to put the dog to sleep. That may be why, because if it is getting to the point where it has really and truly it's kind of ready to put the dog to sleep rather than let it continue suffering. I mean, what is wrong with the dog? Has it got cancer or something?
That is unknown at the moment. I'm trying to get some info about that. But this Nathan seems quite knowledgeable.
Yes, he's posting some. Like I said, Stacey, Nathan is posting some cracking comments. So there's one called Droka Legel or Droka Legel. They have put, I don't know if it's a lady or a man, but they put up some cracking. They put up some cracking stuff. Yeah, it says here. Nathan said, "I bet we'll just put the dog to sleep."
I'd put not without the owner's consent, surely.
Well, if they do, and a magistrate turns around, oh, he's a solicitor in criminal law. Well done, Nathan. Nice one, mate. Oh, that's brilliant.
We have if the road is blocked at both ends and then surround the both butt ends, it just takes.
Taken the dogs. My God, are they desperate?
Yeah, they have taken the dogs.
Well, why? Yeah, well, why do they want to take
brilliant, Nathan Edwards. Well done. You are actually a solicitor. Absolutely brilliant. We've got a decent solicitor on Unity Peace Patrol News chat right now, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, I'm blowing your trumpet to make sure that your ego isn't too big, pal. Because I'm sure it isn't. You seem like quite a sound kind of gentleman. But if you could message the Unity Peace Patrol News page, we could definitely do with some of your knowledge. Absolutely. Somebody said I'm stuck in Southampton, unable to help, feeling useless. Thank God for this broadcast. Thanks very much. I do appreciate it.
Or might I do it? Might like to nip round to a district in Southampton called West, and there's a certain bailiff from Marston's who did something rather silly last night.
Is this the one about the diabetic?
Yes, it is. What he did was very, very silly and possibly potentially illegal. Well, it's potentially illegal what he did last night. Because that's, like I said, put the person with diabetes at risk.
Oh, somebody's just said, I know nobody wants to hear this as it will sound defeated, but I have a free place for 10 days. It's close to Carlton and next to the town. If you need anything storing there, or if you need a place just to stay and get fed, I'm here. My door is open. A huge amount of love for the top Crawfords right about now.
Nathan has said link him to the page. He's also said they do need owner's consent to put the dog to sleep unless the RSPCA are present and already have an order.
link me to the page. Yeah, of course I will. I'll get that. I'll put the link of Unity Peace Patrol News in here, so you guys can like, share, subscribe.
Okay.
To any.
I'm going to put something up saying doing that now, Nathan. Is that being done now?
It is. It is. Oh, message, not comment link. Can't comment with links. If you could say, Michael, that if you find us on Facebook on Unity Peace Patrol News, because I can't send a.
Is it on Facebook?
But it is on Facebook. Even if he tweets us and private messages us, you know, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, which one does he need to go to? Is it eviction of the fraud of the banks?
He could go on if he goes on Facebook. Goes on to Facebook and searches Unity Peace Patrol News. He'll find us. It's got our friend Trotter at the top.
Farm Mail. It said Mr. Ebert isn't a forensic law expert, as in documentation and dotting the i's and crossing the t's. Well, I tend to do that. Somebody's Jim Gandy says, so Nathan, in your opinion, what would be the outcome if you had an important moment in casting your endowment policy early?
I think, do you know what? I'm gonna see if I can find this chap on Facebook and see if we can bring him in. Yeah. He's gonna be quite. I'm just gonna try and find him on Facebook and see if he is about. If Michael, if you could ask if he's on Facebook, I'll try and add him through his email address. Hang on. No, he's not on Facebook. I think we could do it with him on. I'm going to send him the link to this hangout so he can be brought in. I reckon that's probably a really good idea. If I could just.
Right, and somebody has posted up now from Facebook. Bailiffs of the house. There have been no arrests. There are approximately 40 police preventing entry, not just to the cul-de-sac, but preventing entrance to the road leading to Fair Chase. That is bloody irresponsible.
Apparently, RSPCA are not.
Nathan has said, just comment on your news page. I'm here. Somebody who's kind of posted under a string of different letters. It said apparently the RSPCA are not present. Thanks for that. I won't even try and pronounce that, but they know they are. It's just a kind of. It begins with a C and ends with a B. It's a lot of jumbled up letters in between. This must be somebody on the ground.
This is somebody on the ground, indeed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to message Nathan with the link to this hangout because his knowledge is absolutely epic, and I believe
it would be absolutely fantastic.
So Nathan, if you are on a laptop, we're going to bring you into the conversation, if that's all right with you, because I'm messaging you now. So if it goes to your other's box, which it may very well do, I'm going to see if it does. All right, here we go. If you have a Google Plus account, then cool. It only take a few minutes to. Oh, someone
said, yeah, Gimmick for Life. It says, I'm here. What's happening with his house? Oh, it's Cheryl. Hello, Cheryl.
Hello. No problem. Right. Michael, could you just hold the fort for a second while we're
Oh, right. Okay. Bathroom break. Yeah. If anybody is on the ground at the moment, who can give us an update, that would have a great deal. Well, the sound of it, that's one of Stacey's pooches sort of snuffling around the microphone. By the way, that picture is not me. I don't look like that. one thing I think the police really do need to wake up and smell the coffee over this thing at Tom's. I mean, blocking roads leading into a series of cul-de-sacs is the height of irresponsibility. If somebody's taken ill, the paramedics need to get in there. I mean, I know there is a rapid response vehicle parked at the end of the close. Yeah, when you've got a medical emergency like a heart attack or a stroke, minutes, seconds count, and it can take a couple of minutes to sort of start up a sprinter and then move it out of the way so the vehicles can get through. That is something that they haven't looked into, and they put other people's lives at risk. The primary duty and responsibility of a police officer is still. Nice to have you on board, Nathan. It's to protect life. Clearly, if they're not doing that, then they're not actually police officers. Have you got any comment, Nathan?
No.
Sorry, you'll have to repeat that because I was sort of between some windows.
Sorry.
If you want to turn your camera off, if you want to remain anonymous, but well, just like because it buffers a little bit. Yeah,
I was saying, Nathan, that I mean the police are blocking up all these roads in a series of cul-de-sacs. I mean, being a retired policeman, that's one of the most irresponsible things to do, especially if you've got elderly people who may be prone to strokes or heart attacks. I mean, trying to turn around with those long wheelbase sprinting vans, I mean, it doesn't exactly take, you can't do that in seconds. It takes minutes, and that could be minutes off somebody's life.
Yeah, well, obviously, in relation to evictions and things, as long as the bailiffs have been made aware of health conditions, certain health conditions can. How can I word this correctly? But certain health conditions can postpone or even invalidate an eviction order until an assessment of the patient has been carried out by said medical people.
Yes.
To see whether or not it's fit. Now, obviously, we're aware that Tom is, I believe he's recovering from cancer himself.
Yeah.
But I do believe there are other underlying health conditions. And from what I've been able to get my hands on in relation to this case, it's some of the health conditions do. I'm trying to word it correctly because I haven't got anything here in front of me. But in relation to some of the health conditions that Tom has and relating family members, I genuinely believe that they should have called for a medical to be taken out to see if they were in a fit state in relation to this, because obviously if their health conditions are too bad, then they can't impose the stress upon them for this, because it could make them far worse.
Yeah.
I'm trying to word it in as plain English as I possibly can.
Yeah. I mean, there was a case last night, Nathan, where some EA from Marston's decided to walk into somebody's house. Now, one of them was a type 1 diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was recovering from a major heart attack and was being told, avoid stressful situations. And unfortunately, what happened? He, according to this EA, I don't have to carry out a risk assessment.
Yeah, risk assessments have to be carried out by law.
I know.
Primarily, the risk assessments would be carried out with the information handed to, said judge at the time, or said panel, whichever it may be.
Yeah, this was one of these warrants of control issued by the magistrates for not paying a fine or being late paying a fine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the one with the diabetes, it was type 1 diabetes, which is unstable, and unfortunately the person suffered a hyperglycemic episode. Their blood sugar level went dangerously high and they nearly passed out. Luckily, they managed to inject themselves with insulin in time before they went out. But
that is reasonable grounds to terminate the eviction. That would be.
That was an attempt to levy on goods.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was on the phone through the data with myself and another person who's a legal professional like yourself. We were saying, I think it's down to you to lead belt. He crossed the line. I mean, he really was being absolutely stupid. He's trying to levy on stuff that belonged to third parties. He knew it. He just carried on regardless. But when this lady, this lady with diabetes, when she started to think, "Oh my God, I'm going to have a hyper," it got quite scary. Because one of the problems with diabetes is there's ketones in the blood. That can develop into a condition called ketoacidosis, which is when your blood becomes acidic, and that is life-threatening.
Yeah.
And well, what I've done is today, as I've emailed the senior management of Marketing Group and said, "All right, this is what happened last night. Didn't carry out a risk assessment before he went blundering in." And according to him, he doesn't have to carry out, yet the law says he does have to carry them out. So what can we do about this? Of course, I'm just, I had an email around about 10 o'clock from the CEO's personal assistant. She said, "I'm going in a meeting. As soon as I come out, I'll sort this out." So just waiting on an email from Marston Group. But sorry.
Shocking, it is. It's just shocking.
Hopefully that'll be sorted out early this afternoon. He said, "Oh, I'll be back at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning." This was about 11:45 last night. He was there for 3 hours. But this EA really did cross the line more than once. What Marston's are going to do, I don't know. If they've got any sense, they'll fire him.
Yeah, just shocking. It is. It's absolutely shocking. So, I mean, I just had an emergency there, so I've just sorted it out. So what's actually happened? Does anyone have any other info of what's going on?
I'm just going to have a look on. Sorry, I'm just going to have a quick check on YouTube. No, there's comments going on about the judges here. Somebody called Society of the Spectre said, "Hi, or bad day for honesty. Say what you like. The bank was deceptive in their dealings. That owed a duty of care, never produced the paperwork they should have." Jim Dandy, Nathan Moti, this has been rolling on for a year or two. He cashed in his endowment policy. Society of the Spectre, a bench judge doesn't make a wrong law good. And then he goes and says, "So they say, Jim." Then he says, "Just one of the lies spread by the rich bank and their," I won't say that because we could get taken off the air, "and their shills." It's got 2 words in there. Droka Legal recently briefed Household Equals Vulnerability. Society of the Spectre, I wonder if the 2 officers terrorised Melanie Shaw were part of the enforcement. Who's there with a camera? Somebody called Tony. He's saying, recently bereaved household an easy mark for snide bailiffs and corrupt officials. And then Droka says, recently bereaved household, this eviction is completely illegal just for that alone. I don't know what you make of that, Nathan.
Yes, sorry, I was sort of typing to somebody else as well. I'm trying to find out if there's anybody there that could give us some type of live feed, or if there's anybody local to Tom that may be able to give us some sort of live feed. I'm just referring to some of my books here, and I'm going to make a phone call shortly to the local police force up there and find out some further information. I'm quite happy to do that phone call live if you wanted.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to find out some more information. I know this has been going on for some time, but obviously what guys have to realise is my speciality is within criminal law. When it comes to civil common and sort of family law and things like that, that's just way above me, or it doesn't really interest me. But I have been picking up on bits and pieces with this case, throughout sometimes on Facebook. It's been shared, and we've had conversations about it, in backbenches and things like that. But what people have to realise is my specialty is criminal law. So when it comes to things like, you know, the police have duty of care, police are stopping people, you know, going to Tom's house. They can only stop people, as I said in my comments, going past for the public safety aspect because of the amount of bodies that's there. But they've exacerbated that situation by putting that amount of police there. So I'm going to try and find out some further information with regards to, you know, why the police are there in the first instance anyway, because obviously 40 police officers to, you know, the way it looks, assist an eviction seems way out of context. So what is the actual true reason? But there's obviously some bits and pieces. I am referring to some books with, you know, some bits and pieces with common law bits and pieces. But as I said, I'm primarily criminal law. As far as I can see, and as far as I can, you know, from information that we're being fed, there is one or two criminal aspects where you could pursue this from currently at the moment. But as I said, I need to try and find out some further information as to, you know, where and why people and so forth and so many bodies are there.
Right. Fantastic.
That is epic stuff, actually.
So yeah, I'm just going to mute again now so I can start button bashing on the keyboard because it's quite loud.
No worries, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan.
I think it's just the police are trying to prevent support from outside the home.
I think they've got the trolls back again. There's one called Gimmick for Life.
Oh, don't worry about the trolls. Balls to them. Let them have 5 minutes. What is the local police force?
Nottinghamshire.
It is Nottinghamshire. Okie dokie.
They just know the house and the police are assisting them. Yeah, we know that. Sure. I'm trying to see if any way we can get a live link. Good old Cheryl. Police are also preventing people from supporting outside the house. That could be legally questionable. Hey, they're cordoned off the area leading to the entrance of Fern Close. Again, that could be questionable.
Yeah, well, we are just about to find out why that is, because I'm literally going to ring them now. We need to contact us.
Yeah, somebody's trying to get through on Skype.
Well, I'm going to stop the I'll stop the broadcast for now, to give everybody a bit of a breather. Yeah.
We'll come back with some more news, I think, after I've made this phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. If you want to record, Nathan, or something, if you not do that or whatever, then.
Right. I've just had an update from Cheryl. Update from the scene. Bailiffs are in no arrest yet. I've got this Gimmick for Life. He said his dog had been ill, was now dying, but did not comment on the bailiff situation. I think there's Jim Dandy who's making comments. I think he's a troll. He said, "Looks like you jumped into water that is too deep, Nathan." Well, I think you have, Jim. You should have got your facts straight about the endowment companies. Well, actually, these endowment policies, there are criminal aspects connected with those. So, which I've come across.
It is cup of tea time from
some of them.
Okay, cup of tea time.
Haley,
I'm going to stop.
somebody called Haley with a Polish name. I watched a video of Tom giving his last update a few weeks ago. He's an honest man, in my opinion. This should not be happening to this couple.
Indeed, it's quite an intense situation. What I'll do is I'll stop the broadcast now, and then I'll put another new one on. Michael, I do need to speak to you after this as well. So.
Okay.
All right, then. Speak to you in a bit. Bye.
Okay, bye.